here I am. I have a vice chair or something. So our first order of business is to take note of everybody who's here. And Lauren, if you've got that under, let's see, there's Kate and Andrew and Steve and those of us in here, and Matt Scheffler is our visitor. Scheffler.
Oh,
Hey.
there's the chair.
Jane, our other chair. I was feeling very halfish.
I recognize the boot shuffle, those different boots.
Oh. My big deep snow boots.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'm calling it to order, and sort of called it to order already to do the rounds at 7:04, officially at order, and we have.
It's Naomi.
Naomi. Greetings. All right, so Lauren's got that. All right. First of all, you all got a draft of the minutes from Lauren some time last week. Any amendments or things to say about them? Other than, thank you, they're nice minutes.
I'll move them, get them on the table.
All right, anybody want a second?
I'll second.
All right. Accepting the minutes, all say aye.
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 Okay, so, and those were from November, so just to remind us all, we have not seen each other since then.
November.
And hope everybody had a good Christmas and all that sort of thing. So any additions at this point to our agenda? That, anything new other than our new business?
I could just give another little update on the ongoing saga of the Bob Beck Memorial Tree Planting.
Okay, we'll just add that to our old business.
Yeah, just a quick update.
Saga.
Saga.
Oh dear.
It's not a negative saga, it's
Okay.
just
Okay,
ongoing.
just the ongoing next step saga. Okay, so, the first thing that was on our old business list was this conservation grant that I think, Jean, you had
Oh, yeah.
alerted us all about and
Yes.
wanted is there any updates on that or anything we should be doing or exhorting anybody to do?
I mean, it seemed like a good opportunity that it is like a no match grant for conservation, for purchasing conservation land. It seemed like really, like it'd be really effective for a community that has a property they've had their eye on, you know what I mean? Because like to get it all together in the time frame, it might be hard, but, I don't remember what the, time frame was when the grant
Is it
closed.
really, it's close, it's coming up.
Yeah,
It might be the end of January, but maybe it's early February.
like it would have been nice to buy that.
Yeah, that's right,
Because it was
exactly.
a lot of money,
This,
but-
part that, you guys were most interested in, which is basically the whole lower part into the
Mhm.
wetlands.
Yeah.
For the Trillium Woods.
Yeah,
Well, unfortunately, nothing will be resolved probably in time, but let me get the date again. I'll
Yeah,
see if
find
I
the
can
date
get
of it.
that from the emails.
yeah, maybe I can find it real quick, while we're talking about other stuff.
Hi, Tim, you got my email? Apparently. All right, we'll look. So while you're looking for that, I think we just put that date down in our minutes so we can know whether to even think about it.
Yeah,
So don't we need a property or something in mind? We can't just apply for a grant,
right,
Yeah,
hoping
we
that something
can.
comes up,
No, I
so-
think
Yeah.
the thing would be, in my own mind, that if it were a loan delay and we had any way to just alert the planning board and or approach the purchasers and say, there's one way we could purchase this from you if you're willing just to get rid of that now. I don't know, these are all kind of long shots.
Sure. Well, they might see that it might become,
Was there any, how much money would they,
It's, the total grant is $25 million is
Oh,
what they have to
well.
give away, and so, like, I forget, it was a big number.
yeah,
Nancy,
Hi, I think you could ask for millions of dollars.
This is in case I have to jump my truck.
Oh, jeez.
And it's not supposed, this battery pack's not supposed to go below 14, so
Ah.
I can't leave it in the truck.
yeah,
right.
So the maximum you can ask for is $3.5 million for one project.
oh,
Oh, all right, well, that
That's a lot
doesn't
of money.
sound too
So
limiting.
between 50,000 to $3.5 million. No match required.
Wow.
Oh, that's our grant that we're looking at?
Yeah, if everything had been in the proper alignment in terms of time,
I know.
When
And
does it due, the
Bex
application?
could have brought the property and we could have bought Trillium Woods and, no,
Why can't
The
it
bids
work
are
now?
due by 3 PM on February 18th.
February 18th. Well, let's just see how fast everything happens. All right.
I also brought cookies.
Oh, yeah, cookies too. Here we go.
Chocolate, they're dark chocolate and walnut in there. And there's these goodies that come with, my sister always sends us oranges. Those are like sugar bombs that
Yeah,
taste
they
like
are.
strawberries.
Oh,
Mm.
right.
I'm not a big sugar person. Any of you like sugar?
I mean, I'll take
Take
one.
'em.
I'll
I-
take the cookie though. Want a cookie?
sure.
we shouldn't,
So, all right,
But they're homemade,
noting
right?
that that's February 18th, I put this idea of a co-meeting with the Climate Action Committee as on the agenda again. I think we brought it up before when
Mhm.
quite a long time ago.
Mhm.
And the idea is simply that now the Climate Action Committee will be ongoing, it's been put in stone as a real committee. And we have a lot of overlap. We have our own areas of interest and we have overlap. And that will be, in some cases, very useful, I think, because we can do different kinds of perspectives and whatnot on. And they were very up for just getting together fairly informally exactly how we can avoid making it an official meeting, whether
Oh,
we
right.
need to make it an official meeting or not, I don't think it really,
It just needs 3 days' notice for an official meeting,
right,
which
okay,
isn't too bad.
yeah,
And it's 3 or, more than 2
right,
from any committee.
right.
Oh.
Okay, so, the idea would be, so the Climate Action Committee's been working very hard on defining their mission, which I'll send it around to you, but they're still sort of a work in progress to define. The idea is, we've now got a mission out, but the idea is that every year we'll kind of review goals, which will be kind of a strategic plan, what are we acting on? And I can share some of that with you at some point, but at this point, they just thought it would be useful to get together to talk about each group's kind of mission or perceived goals and find the overlap. I'm throwing it out there, nobody wanted to do anything before March, and then we've got a repair cafe coming out of the Climate Action Committee in April, which I'll mention. But if anybody has ideas or thoughts, venue, place, how, this is probably a little bit small in terms of a room. I'd like to say I could host it at my house, but that's always dangerous.
Don't forget it's a public meeting.
I know
so-
that, that's why it's
Right,
dangerous.
potentially dangerous,
I
right?
mean, people like that'll show up, right?
And we can put you up in the courtroom, which is the
Okay,
town board.
yeah.
If it's 2 committees coming together.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, I would like to, if anybody's got thoughts about timing or anything, I don't really have any particular, except to find one where we're not all too busy.
So which night would it be? Is it their regular schedule?
Their regular schedule is the third Tuesday
Okay.
in the evening at 5.
It's not that it matters, but in March I won't be here for the last Thursday, so
Okay.
if we had a joint
All right.
meeting,
If we had a
The
joint
third.
meeting,
that would work better for me, but it's not about me
right.
anymore.
Tuesdays in March are fine for me, Tuesdays in April are all booked up for me.
Are
All booked up,
all
I'm
booked up.
teaching a class, so
Okay. Let me just,
Would you pass the walnuts?
yeah, so, and I don't know from their point of view if there's people who have set fourth Tuesdays. I kind of doubt it, because there's a lot of older folks on there, but,
Mhm.
I suspect would be good on the fourth Tuesday as well. Okay, well, why don't we, so you're going to be away on that last Tuesday in March, that last week in March?
Yes.
Okay, so,
I'm gonna be away the third Tuesday in March, no, the fourth Tuesday,
like this, our regular meeting in March.
our regular meeting is always the last
The
The
last
last,
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
the last.
the
Sometimes it's the
31st,
fourth and
but that's the
sometimes
fifth
Oh,
Tuesday.
I guess I won't be away.
I will be away the week of the 23rd, the week of March
Me too.
23rd, which is the fourth week.
Okay, I'm wrong, I'm away that same week.
But
so
you're not away on the actual fourth Tuesday, on the
On the
last
31st,
Tuesday.
no.
I'll
well,
be here.
maybe-
I'm here.
I'll be here on the 31st as well,
All right.
sorry.
Well, let
Thank
me
you,
just
Jean.
think about maybe the last Tuesday.
There's 5 Tuesdays
Yeah, I
in March.
didn't
Yeah.
realize that. I just assumed, which is always bad.
Let me just suggest that to them, just to float it, since it
Yeah.
seems to be a sort of a,
Yeah.
it's like a supermoon, right?
Yeah,
The
right.
fifth Tuesday.
Fifth Tuesday in March only happens every 200 years.
Sounds good, we're getting some thumbs up from the crowd up there.
Nice.
All right, I will float that, and get back to you through email to see what we can organize. And this is another throw-out, we don't have to discuss it now, but, we'll be seeking this spring, our newsletter, outreach kind of ideas. And I think we've had a lot before that have to do with sort of natural systems and the things that are going on, but, Naomi, maybe you wanna take on some of those ideas and share them as they pop in,
That would be great, that's kind of what I was thinking,
all right?
post stuff.
But I think it would be really good to have something at least every other month that we kind of get out there.
I agree.
That tree update,
So we did plant the trees, that could be an outreach article. I didn't really take pictures because I was running around, but if
We have
people wanna
there
send
were
me
some
pictures, we
shared.
could do a little, that could be an article. And then I did pick up the locust wood to make the benches. And the town is gonna pay that invoice out of our fundraised money. And then I was thinking we should start to narrow down a date to do like a dedication. So also work on getting plaques made through the winter too, so we can put those on the benches. So if there's like a Saturday in May that we could either choose now, or we could maybe at the next meeting settle on one.
yeah. I think I'm probably fine with wherever.
If that feels like a Saturday morning is kinda what I was thinking would work best, but.
Can you guys hear okay? Saturdays in May for the dedication?
And I'll have to, obviously we'll check with Gwen and make sure that
Yeah.
she'll be available.
Yeah.
That would be appropriate.
Maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll reach out to her about May dates first, since if nobody here has a
Yeah.
strong preference, and then I'll see what her feedback is, and we can settle on a date next time.
Sounds good.
The only thing I think that would possibly be in the way would be the second week in May, I think it's usually graduations
Oh,
for college.
yeah,
I don't know if anyone knows anyone, but maybe if you did the third or fourth week, and just stayed away from it.
yeah,
For Cornell, it's always Memorial Day.
that's at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
would avoid Memorial Day because there's a break now.
Yeah, Memorial Day is always busy.
so avoid Memorial Day and college weekend. Grad weekend.
And I think she means the TC3 college,
Well, we've
Right.
got TC3 and Cornell, which.
And
Well,
it's
Cornell's Memorial Weekend.
Oh, is it
And
Memorial
Ithaca College
Weekend?
is the weekend before, usually.
Oh, okay, and she's saying second week, so that's probably
That's fine.
TC3. So,
Well, we'll.
Yeah, I was just kind of putting out there in case anyone's traveling to see family or
Yeah.
friends that, they graduate around the second,
Yeah.
third week sometimes.
Second weekend's Mother's Day,
Oh, Mother's Day too.
but that's Sunday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And what mother doesn't wanna come out?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Depends on vacation.
It'll be nice and rainy and,
Yeah.
Or snowy.
or snowy. It has done that, yes. There was a May 8th that did a bunch of nesting.
I've
Oh,
seen snow every month of the year. July was the 4th, was
What?
the most unusual one.
Here?
I was in Cooperstown.
Yeah, that's still crazy.
It's
Are you
not
gonna
very
say
far.
in Siberia?
It's in the 30s, it was in the 30s, and snow came down, we were playing soccer.
That's crazy.
That's exciting. Okay, you're gonna check with Gwen, and then we'll
Mhm.
bear in mind, not the second weekend probably, or,
Yeah,
Memorial Day doesn't sound great anyway.
yeah, we'll narrow it down.
Okay, new business, newish business, because I talked to you about this a long time ago, just when the property went up for sale, and I was, those of us who were nearby, in a NIMBY sort of move, started to get really worried. So the Ed Hill, Heil Road, that's a slash in there, Heil Road development. I don't know what you guys all know about it, but, I mean, the latest, but the planning board actually had the developers come before them to present a sort of plan, which is,
Preliminary plan,
yeah,
kind of.
very preliminary, so everybody doesn't even call it a sketch map,
Right,
even though that's really what it is. But it's 2 or 3 steps away from the planning board making any decisions. The Ag Committee has heard about it, and the EMC has deposited a letter that I shared with you guys, or was shared with you guys by Ray Berger, opposing the development specifically of the 2 UNA areas, which was Trillium Woods and the areas down in the wetland. At the planning board, there were a bunch of us who were coming there on our own cognizance, not representing boards. Nancy, I, Craig, Matt didn't make it, but we had Austin Beck from the Beck Farms across the way was there, and some other, Matt Young, who represented kind of the Wetland Trust, and he's one of the people that's actually identified, went about some years ago, 10, 20 years ago, the globe flower that was the basis of the, one of the reasons for sending the swamp side as a UNA, as well as being fir trees. He spoke to that, the community, the fir hemlock community that's there. And I think, Craig, you wanted to say something about, we saw the ag, Lauren shared the ag, plan thing with us.
yeah, I mean,
But-
they discussed it kind of from all directions, but mainly from the agricultural perspective. And they finally came out and said, we don't think there should be any development there. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, because we have 3 dairy farms in the town of Dryden, and this is right in between 2 of them.
Right.
It just is not a good place to put a housing development.
There's more than that that makes it bad.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that make it bad.
And I talked to Evan, and he said that the Ag Committee would be sending, would form a resolution and be sending it at the
Yeah.
next meeting. But at the last meeting, when they discussed it, and they were
Right.
just, the general consensus was no development. They didn't actually work out
They
wording
didn't
to
get the
present.
the resolution in, but they were, that's where they're going.
So that's what he thought.
And I think, I'll just to be full disclosure, Nancy and I and Marie McRae and Austin Beck, Matt couldn't make it, just met as local residents and informed and concerned citizens for just a discussion of it. And then, based on that, I put together a bunch of points, which I cleaned up a little bit and just shared with you guys. I'm really sorry, I've been a little bit crazy today.
And I got a hold of Craig Anderson,
Okay.
so I was talking with him at the end of last week and I put together, he was telling, because I wanted to know what the process was. And I'd gotten as far as finding out that what they presented, that first presentation they gave was basically just a piece of paper saying that they had intentions. And it had absolutely no finality
No,
in anything
no
at all.
standing at
There's
all.
no-
But it
Right.
meant that they were aware and then they
You saw,
accepted
seen
that.
that?
Craig was saying actually they didn't even have to accept that at the planning board. They could have said, no, we
Mixed
don't.
it right there.
They could have said, we want more discussion before you even get to that. Because having accepted that particular plat, the next thing that they would present would be, the plat that they think they are going to work.
What they call a sketch
Which
map.
would mean they would have gone and put a lot more effort into it to figure out where things would go and where the housing bits would go. So it would be much farther along. Although talking to Craig, I was thinking, that's not going to be able to be done quickly because this is going to be a seeker. And they have to, according to seeker law, they have to do a full environmental report on the land.
Before they do that step?
Before they could accept that. And at this point, because a representative of the company was there, the guy who owned it had wanted to be there, but he's in really bad shape, having injured himself with a broken rib and a collapsed lung. So, and he's in Sydney, so it's 2 hours drive. So instead, a long time, this guy who works with him, he was saying he's not anybody, partly because he has no authority to say yay or nay or good or bad, but he's known him and worked with him for over 35 years. So, and they're good friends. So, I mean, this was not somebody out of nowhere.
No, but I will say that it was striking how little homework they had done, apparently, on the existence of county maps.
No, they didn't do anything at the
They didn't-
level of county.
They did nothing
They did things at the
county.
level of state. And
Yeah.
so they had gone through DEC, and they'd looked to see what DEC was regulating there. And they were aware of the globe flowers.
They were.
Yeah, he knew there were globe flowers there.
He didn't know what a UNA was,
No, because that's county.
But the state wouldn't list the species.
but they wouldn't,
What, pardon?
The state wouldn't list the species on their website. They would say that there's a rare plant, but they wouldn't say what
Right,
it
They
was.
but
wouldn't
that would
tell
be
you.
enough, and then he went and talked to the wetland, they'd already talked to Wetland Trust, so I think the Wetland Trust was the one who told him what plant it was. But, I really think he did, if it was my company, that's about what I would, I'm not gonna be searching
no,
all
I mean,
the
he
county
brought us,
things.
he brought us the maps that we had already seen. I
So-
mean, many of us had seen.
Anyway, that was so I told Craig was suggesting that we form a committee. He was suggesting the best thing would be if it would be listed as a subcommittee of the planning board, but that there be a committee which includes members of the ag committee, members of conservation board committee, possibly things that are logical, and have this, and planning board, so that there's representatives from all those boards on one committee, which would be a subcommittee of the planning board. So I've created a letter to go to Tony to suggest that. Let's see if I can find it here.
And this committee
There.
could be active.
Here it would say, Tony, since the property on High School I have it wrong here. But a Hile School Road, anyway, we'll have the address, has so many important features to the town, I think it would be a good idea to have the planning board appoint a subcommittee to review this at as early a stage as possible. As a proposed major subdivision, it's going to require seeker, including intense reporting on features important to the town in both environmental and economic areas. This seems like an excellent time to make use of existing expertise available on the Conservation Board and the Ag Committee, both of which are tasked with advising on such matters. I would suggest such a committee be made up of 1 or 2 members from each of those boards. Wait a minute, pull it up so I can, come on, why can't I do that? There we go. As well as 1 or 2 members from the planning board, and with an invitation to the representatives from the developer, and then my name. So he thought that was a good letter to send, but before I do it, which I may send anyway, because I can send it as a person, but do you guys have any thoughts on that?
So basically you're tossing out, should we send it as a board?
If you want to send it as a board, that's fine.
Right.
If you don't wanna send it as a board, I'm sending it as a person. How about that? I'm willing to give you my letter to send as your, as a board. Yeah, so that was it. He also said, they should have put on they should have been more explicit about what they received from the Ag Committee, any comments that they'd gotten.
They hadn't gotten them yet.
They hadn't been.
They hadn't gotten
They
forwarded to
didn't get a
them.
resolution, but didn't they get any comments? No, okay.
I don't think anything, cause you guys had just met.
Yeah, Tony was, made, just Tony, it seemed like, was made, because minutes were in the process of being written. Tony was made aware, just like you were, of the key points in the transcript and on the audio.
Okay, so,
So-
and that would be why it wouldn't, because he did say something, and that was about all he could, that's all they had.
Right.
Okay, so, yeah, those are my thoughts. And I plan on being actively doing something about this in any case.
As a number of us do.
So,
Spring has her hand up.
What's that?
Spring has
Oh,
her-
spring,
Can I
spring,
comment
yes,
something?
please. Yes.
I think this is a really good example of, especially since the zoning laws, I'm sorry, for those of you who don't know, I've got like the flu, so I sound like a frog. UNAs are not a legally binding.
Well, no,
no, we realize, everyone realizes
I know.
it.
I'm a big fan of them, because I used to be in ENC and near to my heart. But with the zoning rewrite happening, I guess my question would be, should, for Dryden, we be looking at using the UNA somehow in the zoning rewrite? I don't have an answer for that, I'm just putting it out to this group, that maybe this would be a group to think about that or make recommendations on that.
Except that it keeps getting repeated to us, and I think it is important to remember that when the UNAs were first done, that the landowners were all assured at that time that there would not be a legal response as a result of that. So I don't think, personally, I like to see that promises made are promises kept. And for that reason, I would not be in favor of it actually showing up in zoning as anything legal. It certainly could be put into zoning to alert people that they should look for it. But, and be aware.
And to help make sure people make informed.
Because among other things that were brought up at that meeting, they were talking about Trillium Woods, and someone piped up, it's illegal to dig up Trillium. So it would be illegal to dig out a place for a house there.
a whole bunch of those flowers.
Yeah,
summer,
so-
spring ephemerals or
so
Yeah,
something
that-
like that.
all those
Yeah.
special
So,
flowers.
and so for that reason, it could be advantageous for developers to be aware that they should perhaps look at what the UNAs are. But I don't think it's appropriate for, personally, I don't think it's appropriate for a zoning response, because that would be a violation of the trust that
And
allowed us to make them in the first place.
we saw what happened when they tried to make the CEAs. People came with their
Oh, well-
pitchforks.
Well, and the CEAs, oh my God, he trashed that from the very beginning. Don't go into
Yeah, but that's,
I
people.
ended up typing the whole thing. Did you know I had to type the whole thing because he lost all the records of the final meeting where we finalized it. I had to do it from memory. And they wouldn't give us any typing assistance. I ended up spending all day typing the thing up because somebody had to type it.
I didn't realize that, you did that.
Yeah, it was, I could go on. We won't go on. I have feelings
Gold star.
about this.
But we saw what happened. The public perception with
Well,
those was
okay.
awful.
I could go on. There's more than that happened.
But
Yes.
let's
Let's not,
focus.
we're not
Yeah.
there.
Let's
We're
focus.
after that.
But my point is, trying to put something in the law, put the UNAs in, would be the same response, I think, as the CEAs.
Partly because he did it in the best way.
Well,
I could have, we won't go there.
But I think one of the points that I would like to make is that the UNAs are one of many problems with that property.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so to focus just on the UNAs is to perhaps try to raise that and then get capped off because the UNAs are not legal, while ignoring a whole bunch of other
Yeah,
aspects.
yeah.
Among other things, there are so many points in which the development as proposed run counter to specific designations in the comprehensive plan. Now, we worked on that comprehensive plan, it came out. And if you do what they say, if you okayed it as they say, we basically have thrown out the entire comprehensive plan and the commitment to ag lands, to certain qualities of ag land, to the density of housing development, to how housing needs to be accessible to services, to low income housing or moderate income housing. I mean, there's
It's all
just
gone.
so many things that just run completely counter to the comprehensive plan
Oh, yeah.
that I think, UNAs are one key part of it, in at least, I mean, one of them's in a wetland, so you've got the UNA and then you've got about 1,000 other problems with that. I mean, the Owasco Lake people aren't real happy.
Oh, I bet.
Well, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the property, just some other issues that will be coming up with regard to that, is that across the street from these development parcels are, Bex is they already have a large silo bunk, which is going to have odors year-round, and they are in the process of putting in a huge manure lagoon.
8 million
They're
gallons.
gonna have
200 feet, 200 feet from the proposed housing. This is not going to be good for interaction with the public. Add to that,
And for the level of housing that it is too,
Add to-
very high income.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is not selling in Dryden. There are properties for $600,000 that have sat on the market because there isn't a market in rural Dryden.
and there's issues with the road, maintenance of the road, and the large trucks that will be going on the roads to service Beck's Farms will be increasing wear and tear on those roads, which are already in poor shape. So there are many, many, many issues.
Yeah, they're gonna have 4,000 cows up there.
Yeah,
4,000 cows, that's another issue, but, well, that's what feeds into
and
the
when they
manure
all
lagoon.
when they all get released by somebody who's a PETA member at once.
So anyway, so that was my letter to send, and I don't know, what do people think about my letter?
I liked it.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea because it will focus everybody's, centrally on these issues
And it'll
rather than
show
having to
that-
bring it.
If we decide to send it as a conservation board, it'll show that we have concerns, the ag committee is sending things that they have concerns, so it'll show the,
coalescence of concern there.
yeah,
And
Yeah,
this,
I
and this presents a way for the planning board to respond. Well, you guys who are on Zoom, how many of you feel this is a good idea to send this letter?
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. Yeah, I wanted to send something as well, but then I didn't feel like I was as knowledgeable as I could be. I know all the different pieces, and I'm learning a lot through all this information, but thank you. Yeah, I think it's great to have it very well worded.
Can I make a motion that this letter be sent from the board? Take my name off the bottom. I'll forward it to somebody. It's certainly currently
Forward it to all of us,
forward it to all of you. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Oh, I have it in this other document.
or
That's
to
how I
me
can
and
do it.
I'll forward it.
I will second
I-
Nan Cheeseburger.
Thank you, Andrew.
Now do we get to vote?
All in favor?
What are we voting on?
Sending,
sending that
Sending a
letter
letter.
to the
Sending a
planning
letter.
That's
board.
his letter.
to suggest making the subcommittee.
That to suggest a subcommittee of the planning board.
All opposed?
In favor.
All right, you're on? Are you in for that?
I'm in favor, in
He's in.
favor,
All right, good.
in favor, not opposed.
All right, that sounds like a good step, and then we'll see what happens from there. Matt, I just wanted to invite you to,
Yeah.
before you
I-
had to go to say anything.
I just think, you know, as a concerned citizen with this property, obviously I live right across the road from it, right across from Ann. You know, I think sending this letter is a great idea. I think it's just multifaceted, you know, the things that are involved in a property of this size. You know, it's not like a 15-acre property that, you know, it could go either way. You know, there are many things, the unique and natural area being the headwaters, the Owasco Inlet, Beck Farms, you know, or potentially other farms utilizing approximately 85 acres of tillable land. I mean, if that goes away for them, they're gonna have to go further. And, you know, there's not really land further, you know, despite what you think of solar or whatnot, West Ground's the next closest place, and all of that is being bought up right now. So, I mean, how far do they have to go to support, you know, the increased head of cattle that they're going to do?
He said at
You know,
least
that's-
10 miles, at least.
Yeah.
At least, I bet it's even more, you know, to find that amount
And
of
they
acreage,
just
which
puts
again,
more trucks on the road,
it
cause
puts
they've
more
gotta
trucks on
go
the
that
road.
much further.
you
And
know,
that's to grow hay
environmentally,
and-
you know, it just
They're
puts
not-
more
they're not
pollution, you're
electric
driving back and
vehicles.
forth.
No.
No, I mean, it's right there, it's local, it's next door to them. I think, you know, in any way, shape, or form of preserving that as it is, you know, for them to use, you know, I think that benefits all. And, you know, while I do respect private property rights, you know, I am a capitalist myself, I consider, you know, I think in this, there's a greater good of too many things going on at once with this property being that large, that it really deserves a closer look by all these different facets and interests involved in it. So, you know, that's
Great.
kind of where I'm at with that as a concerned resident citizen. You know,
Austin
this
told
property.
me they made a good faith offer on the property, they tried to buy it.
These
And
guys
I-
made a good faith offer.
Yes, I had a friend who also is a neighbor of it who came to me, and, you know, cause it was just out of my price range, out of his, and he came to me and we had one other person, and, you know, we didn't come up with it in time. You know, basically, you know, we thought we had more time and we didn't. And,
Yeah.
you know, this offer went in and, you know, so there was nothing we could do at that point. And honestly, even if it was, we would have been off by about 100,000. So, you know, that's not just small change at that point.
This is the kind of thing where you can work, I could see people working it out, a
Correct.
three-way thing, which
There
might,
were a bunch of us who were like,
And that's,
it
yeah,
takes a while
that's
to
what we're
do that.
looking at, you know, because
it-
they weren't willing to break
It
it up.
still can happen. This is what my cousin did down in Long Island. When, you know, the developer had already bought the land, he was going to develop it up. And my cousin got into it and they got a consortium together and pointed out that the land included one of the very few Indian villages, the remnants of it on the side, an important water place, an important forest area. In addition to what's in Long Island, ag land is really
Oh,
disappearing.
yeah.
And they ended up squashing the development and selling it to the three-way consortium. So it got sold to my cousin, the town, and one of the conservancies, Peconic. I don't know. There's several down there. So, but yeah.
I
So
mean, there's good solutions here that will
they
preserve
could
the
work.
land and in good ways.
And no one of those could have actually come up with the money
Right.
to equal what the developer was doing, but by having the three parties together, they came up with money to equal the developer's offer. So,
Yeah.
What a huge win that is, to
It-
go
it-
against the developers, that's huge.
yeah, win-win-win.
And then, for those of you there in person, I just saw it, I mean, it literally just came out, that the Ithaca Voice did an article, it looks, I just scanned it, looks like it's focusing mostly on the UNA piece, but that's, and not the whole picture, but that's a start to get other people in the county knowing what's going on, so that's, I think, important too.
Any support in the storm? Okay, well, we will send the letter, and let's see what the planning board says. I think we're, you know, you can take a look at the sorts of things that have come out, retake a look at them all, but that'll come out when we all get together, hopefully, in
Yeah.
the committee.
And if Tony doesn't think it's a good if he doesn't think it's a good idea, then, or I guess he would have to think of it ahead of time. I don't know if the planning board would have to vote. When do they meet next?
Next month?
I mean, does the planning board typically or often or ever have special subcommittees to help on site reviews?
Yeah, the ZAG.
Well, that's not site review.
No,
Let's
for
rewrite
site
them up.
review. For site review. I don't know that this has been done in the past. That doesn't mean it can't be
No,
done in
I'm
the
just
future.
asking.
I'm not aware of it, but I haven't been apprised of everything the planning board has done.
And just remember, these developers have not submitted a
Right.
formal application to the planning department yet,
Right.
so they're it's a non-issue, it's
Well-
an issue, but it's a non, like,
It's not-
They haven't
They need
actually
to submit an
purchased it yet
application.
either. It's actually under contract
under contract.
with contingencies. And I expect that if the development if the development is restricted, that is one of the contingencies that would squash the purchase. I expect, I don't know.
Right. That'd be
Um,
logical.
But, yeah, I mean,
And if it's things like Trillium Woods, that was 5 properties.
Yeah, they got 5 lots
Squeeze in
marked
there.
out in there.
I think he already knows they're not gonna have anything in there. And I had alerted him to that actually before that meeting, because I called him up before. Cause when we had the meeting at Ann's house, I was trying to get a representative from them to come then, because I thought that would be a good time to redo that plat in some way. Of course, I was the one who was thinking redoing the plat. Then they all decided, no plat. I think we will end up having to have some kind of a conservation plat of some sort, but.
So you say that with confidence that nothing's gonna happen in Trillium Woods, but how can you say that? I mean, what
I
track
can't-
record
no,
does this town have of
I
protecting?
can't
Yeah.
say it
natural
totally.
resources?
Did I say it too confidently?
You did.
Okay. I take it back.
So
I mean,
this is
yeah.
all one property now, right?
It's all one property.
And honestly, if,
Lot.
if, you know, if Bex had bought the whole property, they might have just bulldozed Trillium Woods.
I think they wouldn't have from talking to them. I mean, they've been.
They said they might have.
Yes, they
And-
might have, but
and
they've been
There'd
good,
be nothing to
they've been
stop
good
them.
neighbors when I've talked to them
Okay.
about
We'd
everything.
sick
Well,
the
if
state
another
on them
farmer
for
did,
digging up
yeah.
all those, if they had to pay for every one of the trilliums,
But
they'd
it's
be a
not, it's
bad
not
time.
illegal for a private landowner to dig up a state listed plat. It's just, you can't go onto someone's property and do it, you can't take it off state land, but you can do whatever you want on your land with
Yeah, okay.
plans. Unfortunately, but you can.
Yeah.
So it's not, if you own it, you can dig it.
I'll remember that. And it's on the,
Out of ignorance, probably. The
What?
UNA is defined by the county. Is there a way that the county tracks them so that they're aware of when one might go up for sale? And you can kind of preempt these issues ahead of time? Or is that perhaps too progressive a thought?
there is a map.
No, it would
I
be,
know there's a map, but like.
it would have to be at the level, it would have to be at the level of the town, so the town has to be aware. And no, there's nothing that's gonna do that. It's just, local people have to raise the alarm at the level of the town.
To the EMC, you know, so that we would know. I mean, unless we had to track it the entire time, you know, all 100, and I don't know how many there are, 190 some, whatever. You know, we'd have to track all those land properties all the time. And so that'd be pretty difficult to do.
Well, so what,
Well, that's what I'm getting at, right? You'd think there must be a way in this day and age, but
well, there could be a way if you could write some sort of designation into the deed that isn't restrictive, but just identifies parcels
Right.
as being,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
part of a UNA or
Yeah.
part of anything else, but it would have to be written into the deed, cause that's, I'm assuming where the realtors would look. It has to be something that a realtor would flag, or that a private landowner or a purchaser would flag when they do their deed search, to see what kind of issues there might be with that.
There's lots of things that actually would be lovely if that were so, because even if, you know, if you buy it and you don't know anything about it, you can immediately consult the UNA committee
Yeah.
and get some
Yeah.
information.
Right.
Right.
I mean, a UNA committee should not just be identifying UNAs. It should be helping to catalog them and understand them going forward. Otherwise, it's a useless process.
Could be a
That's just
recommendation
my opinion, though.
to the committee. Agree.
Maybe not useless, but it does have maybe some shortcomings.
Yeah, sure. I still nominate Nancy.
Nominate what?
Nancy, you're
I'm gonna
doing
nominate you
everything.
for anything.
Anything that has any tangential relationship to this project, you're in charge of, so. Your list keeps growing.
I don't know, I got a committee together to go do a new plat, and the end result was just no new plat. So like, totally ineffective. But, well, not entirely, because it got people together and talking and
Yeah.
going through things, but, yeah.
Well, Andrew, this is something I could bring up, because I am on the UNA subcommittee for the EMC. I could bring that up and see if we can figure out a way to track these parcels.
I could think of one thing would be that everybody gets a right to farm notice for a real estate transaction. And there could be notice to look for UNAs. I mean, it's just an odd thing, but you know, it'd have to be something that whenever you're looking at property that the real estate agent has to do that. That wouldn't, of course, cover private sales, but yeah. I mean, if somebody's gonna get handed a right to farm pamphlet, then you could easily get a little slip in there that says, this county has many unique natural areas. Here's where you can look and see if your new property has it. And just tell them where to look.
Recording in progress.
Uh-oh.
Was it not recording before?
It's all right. He was taking great notes. Taking excellent notes.
I didn't know. Maybe he's gonna be like me doing it from memory.
No, he's been doing notes the whole time.
I mean,
And it's
Steve, I think
recorded.
that'd be a great idea. You know, I mean,
He's got
there's a
old
UNA
school
just up
recording.
around UND in Pleasant Hollow wetland.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything about it, so it would be cool to better protect these things, at least. And as Kate said, right, most people in the county have no idea what UNA even is.
Right.
You say it, they'll be like, whatever, I don't care. But if you educate them,
Right, you know, and the thing is that, you know, we provided the maps and the descriptions of all the UNAs to each one of the, you know, town of Dryden, like the town of Dryden, all the different towns, the cities, the municipalities. And they were supposed to use that information to make better judgments on these lands. But I think they just kind of ignore it, so.
Yeah, until they get the neighbors riled up. Which is how zoning works. Thank goodness my neighbors are okay with me.
Some of us are not. Yeah, I think that, I think there's a lot of cool ideas that could come out of this. I'd like to come back to that. Steve, if you talk to them about it, and maybe we could come back to this at some point and just think about what form this could take. Because I think in a friendly way, this could be a good thing for people.
Well, you know, we've been also kind of deciding what we're going to be doing for the next year. We're kind of finishing up on improving all the boundaries of the UNAs. So we were going back and forth on what we could do next year. And so this might be something that we could really look into, is a way to track the parcels that are, in UNAs and be able to be alerted when there's development or sales, whatever,
I bet there would be a lot of people who'd actually be pleased to know they had one and pleased to know that they should, look after it.
Yeah.
I think a positive outlook on it is the best way, and, think about it as information that might help people manage their property.
Well, every year we do have a public outreach, where usually it's at the library, in Ithaca, and, we get a really good attendance to it. And, where we talk about what a UNA is, how you can learn about any UNAs in your area, so, so that people get familiar with it. And it seems like it's pretty well attended, but, it doesn't cover like all the different landowners for all the UNAs, even though when they send out cards about our meetings and that, we send them to the landowners, so they know about it.
Okay.
I think that when they were first doing them, there were some landowners who were upset at the idea that might invite people to come traipse on their property when they would be very happy to not have them traipsing on the property.
Well, also too, that they had to know that these are non-regulatory and, no, these are not CEAs, no, we're not gonna come and prevent you from doing whatever you wanna do on your property. Sometimes I wish it was, but it's, that we have to make that known, because that's usually the kind of questions you get when they don't know. Is like, how's this gonna restrict my freedoms with my land?
Well, it sounds to me like we could also, if the Conservation Board might think about having a little newsletter piece on UNAs and conservation and how they can help you manage your land, try to put it in a good light.
And Dryden has the most UNAs of any of the municipalities, so.
Yeah. And people will have heard a lot about it because of these various write-ups on this particular Trillium Woods, which is, by the way, locally, lots of people have come up to me, and I've seen a lot of people visiting the woods just because they love it in the spring. Okay, are we, any residual? I think we've kind of got our points there, at least I have points, and now we're recording, we'll remember them.
And thank you for your thoughtful comments. And
Thank you for having me. I appreciate coming out here. Thank you for the work you're doing. So everyone's doing. I think it's very important that we look towards protecting these unique things.
He's a
so.
future Conservation Board member at some point when he's finished raising his 2- and 3-year-olds.
Everything else I do.
Are you a coach?
Yeah, actually I coached at Ithaca College for 18 years, so I retired a year and a half ago, and I coach at Lansing and teach at Lansing too, so, yeah.
And he trains
So are
people
you
to
a
do-
retiree now?
From Ithaca College, I am, so, I did it for 18 years there, I coached pole vault, so.
Yeah, he has pole vault out by
Pole
his
vault.
place. You can watch the
Oh,
kids
that's a good place.
practicing. It's pretty.
I've seen the setup there.
Yeah.
What,
Now-
at your
now I
house,
know.
you have a setup at
I
your
do,
place?
yeah. My wife was elite vaulter, so she was on
Pole
tour for a while,
vaulter.
so,
Yeah, she's built like it.
Throwing it,
Oh,
he doesn't look quite like he's built like those tall, because they're usually
They're
really
usually
tall,
taller,
skinny.
yeah. I did it.
Yeah.
Knows how to teach it
Yeah.
really well.
I did well, I was third in the state, and I won states for college, so.
Nice.
So, and now you're teaching at Lansing, you
Yep,
said?
yep, I've been there for 22 years.
What
so.
are you teaching?
I teach PE, middle school PE. So,
Oh,
yeah.
middle
Gym.
school, middle school, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right, I actually have to head out and get my
Yeah.
daughter, so thank you so
Other-
much, I appreciate it, it's nice to
Good
meet you.
meeting
Good meeting you,
Yep.
yeah. I
Glad
did,
you
when I
could
was
come
going to
down.
her house, I pulled into your driveway first, but then I was like, oh, and then I'm going, no, this isn't her.
There's
There's
not many
only-
choices on that
There's only
road.
2 cars here and there should be more.
Take care, thank you.
Bye.
Right, great. We'll see you, Matt. All right, the next thing is, just noted, high school possibility of having a high school representative to the Conservation Board. I just threw that in because the Climate Action Committee has 2 high school reps. They're great, they're involved, they're, active. And I think it's a good experience for a high schooler to get that kind of insight as to what's going on in the
Yeah.
town. And I'm throwing it out there as a suggestion, which would have to go all the way up, I think.
So, I printed this out, the enabling legislation for the Conservation Board, it was a local law.
All right,
So, which means it would have to, have a public hearing and all of that if this was to be changed.
okay,
So, but, in the section on membership of that local law, Conservation Board shall consist of 9 full members. Blah, blah, blah. Any person residing within the town of Dryden who is interested in the improvement and preservation of environmental quality shall be eligible for appointment. So, that
and
said,
they need to be over 3 years old.
there was no age.
No.
It's assumed, but legally speaking, it's not written
Okay,
as such. So they could fill a position of a
of a
a
regular
vacancy
board.
here.
Right.
And again, there is the possibility for 2 alternates in the Conservation Board.
Oh, so we could have one as an alternate.
There is also Jody Korich, who spoke a couple months ago.
Yes,
She had put in
yes,
an application.
yes,
Conservation Board was number 1. So
okay.
that would be a town board question,
Mm-hmm.
whether they want to fill that alternate position.
Okay. So,
So they don't do it automatically, we have to request that they
No,
do it?
it should have been, if it was, it should have been done at the organizational meeting.
Yes, I just assumed that she didn't apply since,
Nope, there was a,
okay, so
we
there was
have
an
we have an
application,
application.
but she wasn't appointed,
I think it was just overlooked.
an oversight, okay.
okay, so we should note A, that should be reviewed and decided on. And if we have an alternate position, the question would be, could we invite or look for somebody from the high school?
Well, alert them that they could, that it was, position is open and they are eligible.
Right.
would
And
be
that I
sufficient.
can do through our,
As long as they're a resident of the town, which is
right.
Yeah.
confusing, cause town, or school,
So-
being in the school isn't necessarily living
A
in the
resident,
town.
yeah.
Right,
But to change, I mean, you can change the local law, but it's just more of a process.
right,
So it's not just a simple town board resolution.
right, so rather than calling it a representative, it could be that we would advertise to the high school or tell the high school about it and accept such a person. Okay,
Wait, is there a green team equivalent? I don't know if it's active though, because my high schooler has not.
there's a
much is
sustainability,
happening.
there's a sustainability club or something like this
Yeah,
over there?
yeah, Mr. Crocker oversees that, but I don't think it's very active right now.
No, but the Dryden High School has a club that's active and is the one source for the, students on the CAC.
Is that Crocker too? Sorry, Kate.
That's,
Sorry, my dog was trashing, it was so loud, oh my god. And then there's also, there's like also in the garden club too, forgetting, it'll come to me who's in charge of that. I think they're both active right now, I haven't heard anything outreach wise lately from the, sustainability club, but I think Travis is still.
I can ask Natalie later and see what she knows about sustainability.
If she's hearing much, yeah, and I can also reach out, if we'd like to see if their students are just, busy already, or if they might be interested.
So on the climate committee, are those students, they have an official role, or they just?
yeah, they do. And I think as the climate committee was constituted, we always expect to have somebody from the high school.
Okay.
And so far, it's been 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been constant membership, and graduating seniors often look for somebody to move in
Yeah,
to the
this
role
spot, yeah.
after they graduate.
I mean, it's a great college application, resume builder.
And ours,
Are those usually seniors, Ann?
we've
Or-
got,
or
we've got,
upperclassmen?
we've got one senior on there, and I think, a junior or underclassmen, as well. So they're not always seniors, but, yeah, they somehow
upperclassmen.
quickly become seniors.
If I think about it, I'll try and figure out if there's some way to get the Ithaca school district that's like Ellis Hollow area. Like, I'm in
It is.
Ithaca School District, but
Technically,
there might be some kids that would be good, but I don't know how to reach them.
Right.
But I can maybe try to find out when I'm done with hay and water.
I mean, often I think it's having either a point teacher or club that
Yeah.
you can, talk to and say, cause they're usually that
That
kind of
means you
kids.
know what's going on in the school.
Yeah.
So, okay, so basically, I'm hearing generally people would be happy to have such a person. And, we can follow up and figure out how to reach out to
Want me to
remind.
reach out to Crocker and see if, I know him well enough, I can ask him. Anyone else?
Sure. Yeah, I could just send an email and see, what, so it's, you already have, just to rephrase it, you have 2 representatives from the high school club on the climate action committee. And is there any interest to also have any representatives for the conservation board specifically?
Right,
Yes.
at this point, there'd only be room for one, unless somebody
Yeah.
resigned their
Okay.
position, but.
They would come on as.
Well, we have 2
To be an
vacant
alternate.
alternates and one
just-
might be.
No, just one alternate, I think Naomi's still an
Naomi's
alternate.
is an alternate.
Yeah, I'm an alternate.
But we also have the other application
And we might have.
that might fill the other, so
Might.
you may not have a vacancy. That
But-
doesn't stop someone from coming, even if
Right.
they don't have an official
Yes,
voting
exactly.
role.
That's what I was thinking. I remember doing that in high school too, or like
Yeah.
sometimes you even have like a civic engagement
Yeah.
piece that just coming and taking notes.
Yeah, or what about a liaison between the sustainability committee and the high school sustainability committee and this board? It could be an official liaison role or something.
So would it be okay to have a liaison that's like an unofficial, they don't need to be a full representative?
I mean, it's a public meeting, anyone, if someone wants to
Yeah,
regularly
exactly.
come to our public meeting and enter conversation with us, like that's, we don't have to change the
And that's-
law to do that.
That's pretty
Yeah.
low commitment, like show up if you
Yeah.
have time.
Right.
We wanna throw in enough of a bone that it's something they can put on their college application.
Oh, yeah. Especially going into a program.
Yeah, I think that they could be invited as, saying that there's a variety of ways and stages at which they might be able to participate, but we just wanted known that we would welcome someone from those different schools, being there and learning more about it. Particularly as parts of these clubs, it seems quite appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think people are set to look for ways into the schools. The next thing is just to announce that the Repair Cafe has a date that's been set. It's April 18th, it's a Saturday. It will be at the new community center in Dryden.
That's the church,
It's the church, the Methodist church.
on the corner, the church on the,
What was that date again?
Yeah, well,
18th of April, it's a Saturday.
didn't know they'd be in there yet, that's exciting.
And, and so we've been arguing over exactly how many hours. I think it's going to boil down to roughly maybe 2 or 3 hours, maybe one less hour, or 2 or 3 hours in which you can bring things in and then you can get finished up in the last hours, just so we don't have the people coming in at the last minute,
Yeah.
keeping our, I would just say to all of us, just as people, who are linked through me with the CAC, if you know anybody who's really good and loves to do repairs of various kinds or specializes, either in their real life or in their extracurricular life in like repairing furniture, repairing lamps. Lamps were a big thing, huge number of lamps coming in, you know, it's like, you know, we all have them in our basement, right, that we've never gotten around to rewiring, even if we know how. And we're also going to have sort of iPhone, iPad, Kindle, you know, interface stations for people who can't set up their password or, you know, that kind of
I wanna turn off the
fundamental level
alerts.
of help. And so people who are really conversant with that, maybe some young folks who really love that kind of thing would be a great thing for them to do. I'll be reaching out maybe more for more specifics, but, of what we need to cover, but everybody should come. And the last thing about that is that the CAC is thinking of this as a way to also advertise some of the things that we're sort of committed to around the town, from the point of view of the Climate Action Committee, having some of our younger members develop posters about energy use in the town, or conserving this with respect to insulation, or kind of, you know, maybe connections between repairing and reuse and basically energy conservation. And I think, and I've told them that I was going to mention this, I think that, you know, if we had if any of us wanted to help develop some sort of poster kind of thing that would just say, what does Conservation Board do? You know, what are our goals and that sort of thing? How do we fit? I think they would be more than happy to have some of those kinds of things up at the Repair Cafe. We'd like to make it a community event. So I throw that out there for the moment. I am not volunteering to make a poster.
I could make a poster if you'd like.
That'd be great,
Some
Naomi.
skills.
Yeah.
Maybe teach about UNAs.
Yeah, I mean, we could,
Lots of trillion pictures.
it would be a perfect place for, you know, what's a UNA and what is the sort of thing our town is already, you know, our county has already done.
That'd be perfect.
If you're gonna
Would you
have
mind just
teenagers
sending me
there,
an email and remind me? And maybe just like a few points that you were thinking of putting on it or whatever, and we could go from there and I could make it.
Sure, I mean, I can send something to you and the board and we can just get a list of ideas that might coalesce into one or two posters.
yeah, and say that this is your chance to have a teenager next to you for your phone. Definitely, you know, I had all kinds of things with my phone, and then I was somewhere, and actually the guy was in his 30s, but to me, he's a teenager, right? Then I just gave him my phone and told him what I wanted, and he made it happen. I was delighted.
I just spent the last 2 days with David's computer stuff failing, and I'm the computer guru for the family, so you know how low level we are.
Not all teenagers have cell phones.
That's right.
That's right, but if you can get some teenagers to sign up to be there, then, you know, those are the ones you want. So, I mean, there's some
We will have
geezers
that.
who are good at this too, but not moi. Moi is not one of them.
And I'll think of it too, Anna, if there would be anything appropriate for like my younger kids, like Eloise, if she has any good ideas.
I'll
too.
pawn off my other kid too, for sure.
Yeah. I know a few years ago someone tried to do a toy swap thing too. I don't know if that would be an appropriate place for it.
A what?
Or
Toy swap?
swap and have them work on like environmental things and swap with each other or something.
Yeah, fire those ideas to me, I'll take them and we'll see what we can incorporate. This won't be the last Repair Cafe. There is, by the way,
You got a little time, so that's nice to like think ahead.
yeah, and we can plan, and as we're hoping that it becomes a regular thing that the community can kind of look forward to, and then that'll bring more activities to it. I think it all centered on the idea of, you know, reuse, repair, recycle kind of things. But I think a toy swap would be great. Not to speak of the fact that people bring little kids to it and then they need something to do.
Yeah, or like, oh, this toy, it's broken. what could we do? Because I don't know, yeah, something to think about. I've also seen things about kids doing, there's someone locally, it wasn't in Dryden, with stuffed animals, that they were doing something, they were cleaning them up and passing them along. There was it was a sweet story about that, so maybe something like that in the future too.
Yeah, I remember hearing.
It's the sort of thing that I can imagine if, having just learned this myself, that all dog toys are apparently just, you can just toss them in the washing machine, unlike the lovely stuffed animals that your children have, which you cannot do that to. Don't try
You
it.
have dog toys that don't just get eaten?
Yeah, but just an advice, where you could consult about that kind of thing. I'd like to wash this, can I do it?
Yeah.
And for things that can't be repaired in a day, which, for instance, furniture that needs a lot of different work, but is there a mechanism that, that people come and go and they work on it a little bit and they come back in a couple of days and things are glued or jointed or whatever?
Well,
or
we
those
had.
not allowed the repair plan?
We had an amazing repair that mostly took place there, but there were several things taken home by people who were doing knitting repair and cloth repair, where it really took, we do have pictures of the one.
Was that
I
the
think
quilt?
a mouse had just basically decimated the middle of an absolutely gorgeous knitted thing and crocheted, and we got her tables and whatnot, and we laid it all out, and she did most of it all there. It was impressive. But that's the kind of thing that should have gone home.
Yeah, okay.
It took her 3 hours. But she did an amazing repair. I was impressed.
Bring my moth-eaten sweaters down.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly,
Those little
exactly.
holes.
You can knit that right up. Patch it.
Do you
And I'll
know?
wanna know whether
Yeah,
you had them in your
heck yeah.
freezer or not.
I'll pay you for it.
Sure, bring your sweaters.
Okay, I will.
Okay, the last thing on here was just, I, having now moved to share the chairpersonship with Jean, I would like to shed my representative to the Owasco Lake Watershed Management Board. They're a great group, they're very active, they do a lot of good stuff. They maintain they sample all the tributaries into Owasco Lake. They are linked in with maintaining water levels and water quality, looking out for HABs, all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in that, but I don't think I can wear that hat on top of everything else. And so I'm just looking around for you guys first, and then we'll have to talk to the town anyway, because they would need to appoint you as the representative. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm going to be sending the town board a little letter saying, I would like to relinquish my hat and pass it on.
Justifiably so.
Yeah.
So you can think, nobody's gonna raise their hand now, I absolutely know.
I can say no right now.
Yeah,
No.
I'm sure many of us would want to. It is
You were
a
in the unique
hybrid
position
meeting.
of living in the watershed.
That's
which is-
true,
which
that's
is
true, I mean,
not-
that's
not
why
a lot
I
of
had an
town
interest
residents,
in it,
right?
yeah, I had
Does it
a,
have to be a
No.
conservation board member, or could this be maybe what you offer to one of the alternates who's not fully on board?
yes, it does not have to be a conservation board member. I believe that I was sort of a stand-in, it was supposed to be Dave Sprout or something like, it was, I was sort of a,
I don't
it was
remember that.
passed over to me in any case, but, I think Adam had made some initial contact with me.
Think one of your kids want to do it?
No, I was thinking Jody Torch, who came up earlier, and she's very interested in Dryden Lake, which I know is a different watershed, but she might be interested in the Owasco watershed as well. I have no idea.
There's a lot of crossover discussion, so they,
Sure,
they
yeah.
do.
You can volunteer Naomi since she's not on the call anymore.
I'll mention it to Jody when I see her.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I will be sending that to the board, but I will CC that letter to all of you guys to remind us all that I am no longer doing it. And I have to tell Adam first.
They meet quarterly or monthly?
They meet monthly.
Monthly.
And it is the morning of the third Tuesday, so it is like, when I have CAC in the evening and yeah. And it is a hybrid meeting, so I've typically not been able to get all the way up there to Auburn. They meet in
It's a long
Auburn.
way.
I have had some difficulty hearing, you know, it's not the best situation, it's not as good as ours, because it's a larger room and they meet spread out over this sort of courthouse room.
I was trying to listen to the planning board meeting the other day, that was next to impossible.
Challenging, yeah. Yeah, unless you've got a real
Unless they're,
central.
the people sitting at the table talking to the mic, you could hear everybody else, was just
Everybody.
going through that mic, and it was,
Mhm.
it was hard.
Right. And no pass around,
Right.
yeah, this is what you need.
Heard
Okay.
Nancy loud and clear though.
I used to sing opera, so I generally can.
I'm teasing.
Yeah.
I heard everyone who was at the table speaking to the mic.
Yeah, 'cause we have the mics right there. All right, I have nothing else. Is there any new business that I've forgotten or somebody wants to make new? All right, with that, somebody wanna suggest that we adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I will second.
Second?
Second up there. And everybody, goodbye.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Our rules, purpose and duties, number 3.
What's number 3?
How often have you seen that happen?
Oh, that's
What's
an
number
interesting
3?
thing. Developers and applicants are strongly encouraged to present their proposals to the Conservation Board for review and comment prior to formally submitting their application.
Recording stopped.
So,
Fascinating. Maybe we
there will
should
be no
notify them
fee
of that.
to submit proposals to the Conservation Board. The town board strongly encourages such early review and comment by the Conservation Board.
Put that in your letter.
Well, she's gonna edit the letter and send it, I guess. Well, no, you can't edit it now, that's what they approved what I
But
said.
in all the years I've been on the board, that's,
Never
I've
had
never
anybody
seen-
come in.
We've almost never seen every once in a while we're asked to comment on a plan, but very rarely,
Yeah,
We
They never
could
come here.
only in
pull
cases like
this
this.
out, and I could make a little letter to the town and planning boards and remind them of this paragraph and have them suggest to this.
Well, and why don't,
Well, it
can
wouldn't-
I
mean,
say
you-
that as
you would open
chair,
potentially a can of worms, cause you'd have to review everything, not just the ones we want to review.
so my letters, I think, we approved that as is, so that could go from the things. But you could send this as chair, you could just send it to the town board to remind them.
And we could say in it that we do not feel that we need to review everything that has very little Conservation Board.
Is this easy to find on the website, or
It's
can you
on,
send a
it's on the
copy?
Conservation Board's homepage.
Is it?
On the yeah, go to the Conservation Board page and it's right there.
All right, well, this is sort of extra meeting, but,
Well, we can't talk official business.
we can't talk officially, but maybe I can,
When you send the letter, you can preamble it with that information.
Nancy, can you send me that letter too, because I was relying on the Zoom transcript.
yes, you'll
Yeah.
get, I'll CC you on,
Okay.
Oh, I already sent it to you, so,
yeah.
let me
So
see
did
if I
it-
can
do
do
Wait a minute, I
this
can
too.
send it on to you, Lauren, if it came in here. Come on, thank you.
So,
Did I get
back to
something
this,
from you?
Right,
I did
let's see
not
if I can do that.
get that.
Okay, wait a
Nancy,
minute.
I didn't get anything from you yet.
Paste.
Oh, yes, I did. Okay, here we go.
Good, because my paste isn't working, so it's gone there.
I'm gonna just forward that
Okay.
to you,
appreciate it.
Lauren. Immediately, just as part of our meeting. And
are
then
you on the thread when we just send
I
it,
will-
go in
I'm
and
on-
hit Conservation Board, you get it,
I'm basically on all of the
all committees.
Is
the
that-
boards,
does it pop
because it's
in the
minutes.
back too, or is it just
Um,
double?
And the reason I
double
forwarded
thickness?
it to
No,
Conservation
that
Board,
down below.
the Ed
This is
Hill
that?
stuff,
Yeah.
was because it was it
Yeah.
was shunted
That's a
to
good
the
sign.
Okay,
planning
what
board.
company?
And I
Dovetail?
figured
What?
there was a
Dovetail.
lot more,
Don't.
I wanted
Make all
everybody
kinds of
to
like
be
women's like work.
Aware.
These are
aware
insulated?
and to kind of get,
These are like fleece
Have a
lined.
chance
ducks
to
in a
weigh in if they
row
wanted
and-
to, yeah.
I was actually thinking of the ag
And the
committee, because
waist is
they're,
actually like.
Oh, yeah.
it takes a little
Is
longer.
what fair
Yeah.
elastic?
Yeah, and it's higher, it's
So-
not just at your hip.
Yep, and
Yeah.
so it like, it bends
Um,
and stretches with you, it's not like,
but there was
doesn't
a
like
lot
dig in
involved
when you
and
bend
I
over and stuff.
wanted,
Dovetail.
Dovetail,
I
Cause
didn't want
I
it to
used
be
to
a
buy stuff from
rush job
Duluth,
for
but then they
anybody.
kept
Yeah,
getting
Especially
larger
Give
and
people
larger
time to
and
look at it.
larger,
Especially
and
with
I
all
can't-
of the issues involved
couldn't
there.
wear- I was wearing like size 2 or something,
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
still,
Still too much, yeah.
Thank you, Ann.
yeah. So I've got
Size 2
minus
is-
33s underlying
Yeah,
pants
yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
these are the ones I got at, I don't know, there's some guys.
Are you
that-
a size 1?
I have, I range
Did
from
you find it,
size
John?
1 to size
Yeah.
5.
Women's
depending on-
sizes don't make any sense.
They
They
don't
just
make any
randomly throw a number on the clothes.
But they've
It's not
definitely
logical.
I don't know,
Wow.
22 tends to work
But,
for
but
me.
even men's stuff,
Right.
waist size is variable.
It's all over the place.
But you're like, isn't it a number? Like, isn't it 32?
You
each
would
way?
think, right?
It's not.